Just a black-white Stoneblade deck, basically. Good stuff. Hymn to Torak, Thoughtseize, Swords of Plowshares, Deathrite Shaman, Stoneforge Mystic, Dark Confidant. Just kind of all the hits for an attrition-based black-white strategy. There are a couple odd ducks in this list where there's a Still Moon Cavalier, there's a Shriek Maw, a couple other ones, but a lot of what you would expect to see here.
Greg Maloof playing Bug Delver, very traditional deck, and I know you're a fan. Wasteland Gaming, I know you've been.
I have. It's a store out in Atlanta I have a lot of fondness for. Know a lot of the staff pretty well, a lot of the players, so.
Thoughtseize is going to kick things off here as Nick Miller letting me know that the top 8 so far, we've got a Merfolk, an Ad Nauseam Tendrils, a Blue-Red Painter, and a Blue-Red Delver deck. Looks like those are players who were in. Looks like Schneider and Wilkerson were able to draw in.
Right, and we know that the Merfolk player that defeated Andrew Schneider was able to double draw in through round 7 and 8, so that's the Merfolk player in question.
Did a deck tech with him as well. That'll be up later today here as we're going to resolve a Thoughtseize, a hand of Vindicate. Thoughtseize itself, along with, looks like an Inquisition of Kozilek, I believe, a Lingering Souls, a Phyrexian Revoker, and a couple of lands.
It's I believe a Deathrite Shaman. And
is that a Deathrite? Okay,
yes.
I can barely see because it's covered up there, so thank you. I'm going to take the opposing Thoughtseize here.
I think that black-white Stoneblade is really well set up in most matchups where it's Honest Magic and the opponent does not have Stoneforge Mystic. You can outgrind most of these decks, and Lingering Souls is a really powerful tool.
Yeah, I remember last week when we watched Jesse Hefner playing the black-white deck. He got blitzed pretty badly by Miracles. Jace and all the card advantage was just too much to overcome.
Yeah, but in games where you're able to trade 1 for 1, your card quality is really high, and you're very good in combat. So
it's a scrub land to start things off. What's the follow-up going to be? Probably just Deathrite. It's a good place to start, right?
Yeah, totally fine.
Powerful, straightforward, to the point. Maloof going to take a draw here. Again, Bug Delver. Nothing really out of the ordinary in his deck list. He's got only 1 True Name, 4 Deathrites, 4 Delvers, 4 Tarmogoyfs, a Singleton Dark Confidant, and a single of the 3/1 Merfolk.
That's the critical thing. Black-white Stoneblade not really flush with answers like most creature decks to True Name Nemesis, but only 1 copy in Greg's deck. Yeah. So Josh unlikely to get tagged by that.
I'm going to sacrifice a fetch land here, Will Maloof. Figure out what the next move is going to be. Going to consult the hand before getting the land. Let's see what he wants to search up here. It goes by a Bayou. Probably looking for a Trop then. Maybe another Underground Sea, excuse me. Does not want green mana just yet.
Got to be really careful about what lands you're fetching up against the Wasteland Vindicate deck.
He does know that hand has each of those cards in the grip, so. So Maloof will present the deck, and we'll see what spell he wants to cast here. You see 2 Wastelands in his hand right now as well. Looks like he's going to go Hymn to Toraking.
Another powerful tool in an honest game. As long as the game isn't too fast, Hymn is very powerful.
6 on the reroll. And there that goes. So what cards will Josh Hand lose? 2 lands. Wow. Wasteland and Bayou are going to go to the bin. Those were his only 2 lands in the hand. Could have hit a Lingering Souls there, which would have been sweet, but did not do that. So now it's on Deathrite Shaman to get the job done here.
Although Josh did pick up Stoneforge Mystic. Very good draw this turn.
He's going to activate that Deathrite Shaman, remove a land from Greg's graveyard. Going to play the Stoneforge Mystic. That's going to resolve. It's time to go digging for an equipment. We'll see which one it will be.
Him could be a pretty high variance card there, and if Greg hit something like Lingering Souls and X, this could have been really bad for Greg. But
wildly different game.
Yeah.
Going to go get Sword of Fire and Ice. See a lot of players search up maybe a Batter Skull or a Umezawa Jite in that situation, but going to go with the sword. See the equipment in the main deck here. All of those are available.
And it's sort of splitting the difference here. He doesn't know that the Stoneforge Mystic is going to survive, which takes Batter Skull off the table. And he doesn't even know if Jite is relevant against his opponent, so that's not necessarily the best one to get. Sword of Fire and Ice, if it connects, it's hard for it to not matter.
Pretty hard to pass up on this Wasteland too, I think. But we're going to start with a brainstorm here for Maloof. Going to work with some good information before firing that bad boy off.
Yeah, the question is if he wants to shuffle this turn or if he just wants to Wasteland. A lot of it's going to do with the quality of his hand. If he's got a lot of dead cards to shuffle away, he may want to just fetch this turn. But if he can afford to, I'm sure he would like to Wasteland. The old Stone Rain discard deck.
One of my favorites. Get those cards out of here. That Wasteland's going to take care of a land. Let's see if he's going to fire Thoughtseize or not. Also has a Deathrite Shaman too. That's pretty appealing as well. And there is Thoughtseize. Oh, there's your Lingering Souls, your Vindicate, your Sword, and your Revoker.
A hand that needs some mana.
He's going to take down the Sword. Doesn't care too much about the other cards. Seems like the most powerful one in the grip there for Josh.
Yeah, there is definitely some risk in allowing, if Josh draws a land here, just him sneaking the Sword into play may cause all sort of hoops for Greg to have to hop through.
Liliana the Veil was the draw here, and now you're just going to see an attack here with the 2/1/2s. Maloof going to go down to 13. He's going to untap and take a draw. It's a copy of Wasteland. See if it's time to go brainstorming yet again. Maybe just a Deathrite Shaman, and it will be a Deathrite Shaman. Looks like Maloof may play a Wasteland here, and he will. Again, he knows the cards that are coming from the previous brainstorm, so hand is going to draw a card. It's a copy of Isolated Chapel.
Nice. Not that good in the face of this Wasteland.
I've seen better. I have seen better. That's going to come into play tapped. The Chapel 2 up for Josh. Oftentimes going to come into play untapped. This is one of those situations where it won't. Wasteland going to take care of that. Maloof will take a draw. It's a Misty Rainforest. It could be a perfect brainstorm now.
Not clear that Greg's really interested in him to Torak anymore. But these Dazes are a pretty substantial upgrade, as Josh really incapacitated at the moment.
Time to put 2 back. One of the Dazes is going to go back. All right. Gonna play a Bayou. The problem here is Greg just needs a way to actually kill the opponent.
Yeah, it's dangerous to let Josh get all these draws.
Yeah.
I mean, he doesn't need that much mana for his hand to start becoming very powerful.
Maybe fire for him, maybe not. I'm just gonna pass.
The Lingering Soul in Josh's hand represents so much value.
Gonna activate Deathrite Shaman here, just remove a land. Maybe trying to get Greg to move as there's a swamp off the top. But he did not go anywhere with his Deathrite Shaman. So Josh has to realize exactly how the Deathrite Shaman kind of standoff works.
Yeah. And it's interesting, if Greg wasn't willing to move then, perhaps Josh should have just used Deathrite Shaman on his own main phase before he played the swamp. Maybe he wouldn't move again.
Yeah.
Instead he has to wait.
Daze to draw there from Maloof. I see the Revoker in Josh's hand. It looks like Maloof's going to fire off to him now with a hand of 2 Dazes.
He's got nothing else to do, so.
Oh, might as well. So a couple of cards are going to go to the bin. You see 4 cards there in hand. So let's roll some dice. 2. Take care of that one. And a 4. What are we left with? Oh, there goes the Liliana and the Revoker. Lingering Soul still not been hit yet.
Although, you know, arguably this would have been really bad for Josh if he had hit Lingering Souls, because Deathrite Shaman could have just taken it out right now.
You're going to get an activation here of Stoneforge Mystic. You see Josh is kind of bluffing here a bunch with the Deathrite Shaman activation, trying to get Maloof to move, and he just says, I'm not going to do that. I know the cards. He actually knows the 2 cards that are there, Lingering Souls and Vindicate. And that's actually kind of risky because he keeps activating this Deathrite Shaman, and that can actually come back to hurt him because, like, those lands, they're not infinite. There's a number of those that are down there. Here's Dark Confidant. That's getting dazed. That's for sure.
And to some extent, Greg's happy to drain out the graveyard of lands in general because, you know, he has these Dazes in hand. He's happy to play a land-like game right now.
Greg going to remove the Thoughtseize to drain Josh a little bit before taking a draw here. Misty Rainforest, the last card he knew from Brainstorm. So he's got 2 lands and a Daze. He's going to play the Misty.
All right, making the mana again.
Going to catch to him. See if this gets dazed or just lets it resolve.
I think he's wondering if he's supposed to return the land back to his hand or not.
Yeah.
Yep. His hand is dazed land, so he's certainly dazing. And another Death Right activation. You just get the sense that if Josh is able to find another mana here,
just something.
Just something. He can start doing some real damage.
There's a Death Right. That's kind of like another mana.
Well, not for very much longer. We're running out of lands in the collective graveyards here.
You see Maloof is going to take a look at the graveyard. How many lands you got left over there? Just a couple? All right. I got a Misty of my own. Maloof also with that Daze still. He's already cast 2, but he has a 3rd one. It's kind of interesting game. Both these players just need a little something.
Yeah.
Maloof going to hard cast Daze, make him remove a land, and he said, I'll pay for it, and that's fine. That's a really nice play there. So he hard casts a Daze, Deathrite Shaman taps to try to pay, and he says, I'll remove the land so you can't do that, and I get to counter your Deathrite Shaman. So actually really, really good use of Daze there. And it looks like he may have picked up another discard spell potentially. He's actually a Disfigure. Wow, okay, really cutting the mana here.
And now he can just go to work just with Deathrite Shaman.
Mm-hmm. And now finally a land off the top for Josh. Now he needs another one.
Right. He doesn't really have all that much time in the world. I mean, he's going to be taking a lot of damage along the way here from this Deathrite Shaman.
Going to remove this figure. Hand going to go down to 13. Yeah, Deathrite Shaman's a little slow, but it can get some work done here in the meantime. Abrupt Decay, the draw here from Maloof. Wonder if he wants to fire this off or save it. Looks like he wants to save it. Hand picked up a Wasteland. All right. 3rd mana is here because Maloof was not able to close the game out quickly. Will it be Vindicate or will it be Lingering Souls?
Yeah, I think he wants to lead with Vindicate so the Lingering Souls does not get removed from his graveyard by Deathrite Shaman.
Gotcha. Here's an activation. Going to remove a Daze. Hand going to go to 11. Be crazy to see actually Josh come back and win this one. He's been stuck for so long. Now here comes Stoneforge Mystic.
Yeah, you'd assume the Brainstorm Ponder deck would have eventually find something to do, but Greg has just been unable to find anything.
Well, there is a Ponder.
Okay.
So that's a step in the right direction here from Maloof. Time to take a look at 3 cards, and I don't think those are very good. There's a Brainstorm among them. I actually kind of like the Brainstorm. You get that, you get to fetch away the other garbage.
Yeah.
Actually do kind of like that.
It's not really that great because he doesn't have a blue mana left over, so he can't Brainstorm first.
Mm-hmm.
Still, Brainstorm is probably too powerful to turn down here.
I mean, the only reason I want Brainstorm is just because he has a fetch land in play, that's all.
Sure.
He gets to clear.
It would just be better if, instead of a bio, if he had a blue source, he could open with the Brainstorm, get rid of one of these lands.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Gotta sacrifice the Misty here. Gotta search out a land. Again, both these players playing for top 8. Winner moving on to elimination rounds later this evening. We know that Tyler Wilkerson and Andrew Schneider are good to go there.
Already locked up.
Mm-hmm. 2 very skilled players.
Jonathan Aiken with his very different Merfolk build also.
Yeah. And then a Storm strategy.
Sure.
There's a Brainstorm. Couple of cards coming. A True Name Nemesis is one he found. That's really good right now.
Well, the question is well, he's found a Daze too, which is also really important. Assuming that Josh doesn't draw a land, he can Daze the Lingering Souls, untap, cast True Name Nemesis, and likely win the race from there.
Yeah. Abrupt Decay going to take care of the Stoneforge. Make sure nothing ridiculous happens like a Peeled Batterskull. You see Hand's going to draw a copy of Scrubland, which will actually work through the Daze that was drawn. So Lingering Souls is going to resolve. 2 Spirit Tokens are on the way. And we'll see if he wants to fire off a Wasteland here.
I would imagine so.
See our table judge just making sure that we do have the right tokens there for Lingering Souls. And those are our brand new spirits from our IQ program. Those things are sweet. It's time to cast ourselves a True Name Nemesis. Not the first time we've seen this kind of board happen with True Name. It oftentimes does win the race. However, this is going to be an interesting race, actually.
Well, Greg has him beat right now. He gets to hit him down to 8, flashback Lingering Souls, and it's 2 turns.
Yeah.
Greg can break up this clock if he's able to find any sort of removal spell or something else, but the way things currently stand, Josh does have an edge.
2 more spirit tokens, 2-turn clock. He's going to fire off a Wasteland, take care of the Bayou. Maloof, take a draw. Not what he was looking for. Just has to attack here for 3. It's 8-8, but it's in favor of Hand,
Again,
who has somehow made his way out of what was just a horrible situation. Yeah, attack for 4, puts you down to 4. Crazy to even think about.
No, there's a lot of draws that don't even provide much help for Greg.
Yeah, how about another land? How about a concession to the game? Josh Hand wins game number 1, where his back was very much against the wall, but Maloof was not able to brainstorm or ponder into any way to actually close out the game. And that's why Josh Hand won game number 1.
Lingering Soul, still very good in Honest Magic.
Tom Martell will be proud.
Pretty good against True Name Nemesis. I mean, it doesn't interact directly with True Name Nemesis, but it does give you 4 different 1/1 flyers go over True Name Nemesis, and they're resilient to spot removal, which you often see in True Name Nemesis strategies. So
it's sideboard time. We'll take a look at Greg Maloof's first, and you've got that in front of you.
A Submerge, Force of Will, a Jason Mind Sculptor, an Engineer Plague, a Toxic Deluge, a Dismember, a Liliana the Veil, a Vendilion Click, a Thoughtseize, an Abrupt Decay, a Grafdigger's Cage, 2 Golgari Charms, and 2 copies of Spell Pierce. I think he's going to want some extra small creature hate for Lingering Souls and for cards like Dark Confidant as well. So I think you're going to see things like Abrupt Decay come in. I think the Toxic Deluge and the Engineer Plague are going to come in as well. And the additional spot removal like Dismember, Liliana the Veil, and so forth.
Other side of things, the Pit of the Needle, a Grafdigger's Cage, an Enlightened Tutor, a Rest in Peace, an Ethersworn Canonist, 2 Disenchant, 2 Thalia, Guardian of Thraben, 2 Zealous Persecution, a Choke, an Engineered Plague, a Perish, and an Orzhov Pontiff. Well, let's see here. Pontiff obviously pretty good against the True Name Nemesis that we saw. You have to imagine, I think chances are it's not going to Delver Secrets very much. And he didn't see the Dark Confidant. So I'm not sure if, I think it still comes in.
Yes.
Because you don't know how many copies of True Name Nemesis your opponent has.
Right, you saw the 1, but these decks range anywhere from 1 to 4 copies, so it's hard to know for sure. And True Name Nemesis is so good against Josh that I'm sure he's going to want extra insurance here.
And so for that reason, I actually like Engineered. I think that Engineered Plague and Zealous Persecution will come in as well, just to make sure he doesn't lose a True Name Nemesis, because the deck is probably a little bit weak against it. Let's see, the Perish. Didn't really see any green creatures. The only one is Tarmogoyf, I guess Deathrite Shaman too.
I think that Perish is probably for something way more specific like Elves. I don't think he brings in against random decks that just have a couple green creatures, because Josh himself has Deathrite Shaman, and so there's already some anti-synergy there.
Not sure if you want Needle in this matchup. Probably not. Disenchant, I don't think so. Thalia, I don't think so. So I don't think... actually, I could see an argument for Thalia. I could actually see an argument for that card over the Revokers. I don't think Revoker's too great here.
The problem is that Josh has so many 3-mana spells of his own, both Lingering Souls and then some other things that you're talking about, like Choke, potentially Engineered Plague. So Thalia is probably good enough against Greg's cantrips that it's worth doing, but it's not a lock that he's going to bring in Thalia, as Josh has a lot of expensive spells of his own.
Well, we'll see how the players do sideboard here. Should be pretty interesting. Again, Josh Hand kind of pulling that one from out of nowhere. Didn't expect to see him get that one done, given he was so bottlenecked on lands, but able to get the job done.
Pretty impressive comeback there. Pretty impressive comeback.
And so we'll have game number 2 underway for you guys in just a moment. A good battle. Good battle between the first game between the 2 players.
Yeah, and a very high seed on the line for these players as well.
Oh, yeah.
It's not just about making the top 8. It's definitely being among the top 4 seeds here, too.
Yeah, you want to be on the play as often as you can, that's for sure.
It's a weird advantage sometimes to these tournaments that are just a little bit short of getting to the next round. You're forced to play at X and 1, but there is enough XO double draws that you end up near the top of the standings when it's all said and done. Especially in Legacy, where the die roll matters so much. It's a big deal.
And plus, these decks both have a lot of discard spells too, so they'll be better on the play as opposed to the draw. Greg Maloof, when he's on your right, he'll be on the play here with his Bug Delver deck. Josh Hand gonna lay out his cards as well on the draw. We'll see if Bug Delver can actually find a win condition this time. Heck, how about a Delver of Secrets?
It's surprising to me that these black-white decks or these Death and Taxes decks don't have a couple of copies of Path to Exile on the sideboard. I feel like for these kind of matchups, the Delver matchups where they have no basic lands, it would be awesome to be able to have a couple extra copies of Swords to Plowshares.
Looks like Hand's going to take a mulligan here. Down to 6 cards we go.
I can appreciate that the sideboard space is tight, and, there's a bunch of different decks you're trying to address, but I'm surprised how infrequently I see Path to Exile in these sideboards.
Yeah, me too, actually. You don't really see that card a lot. Everyone just goes towards swords and just kind of moves on from there.
Yeah.
It's a little bit surprising, I would say. You'd think you'd see it more often than you do. Really, the only time I'm used to seeing Path, especially in Legacy, was in Zoo many years ago.
Right.
That's really it.
Yeah, because that was a beatdown deck that was specifically not in the market for Swords to Plowshares.
Of course. Of course. I think you top an Invitational in Zoo. Is that true? Am I thinking right?
Yeah, with Wastelands in it.
Yeah. Knights, too, I think?
No.
No? Okay.
Just all 1-drops, Wastelands, and some Bolts.
Okay. Any Paths in there?
I think in the sideboard I had a couple copies.
That's a nice
I had
Path.
like 2 in the board or something.
The old Path Wasteland deck?
Yeah, I was trying not to do that.
Yeah.
I try to have a little respect for the game,
That's appreciated. That's really good. We like that. See if Ann sees anything he likes. He is going to keep it. We're underway in game number 2 of round 8 here in our Legacy Open. That's a Verdant Catacombs before passing the turn back. This is a Deathrite Shaman. Hand with a lot of Wastelands in his hand.
Very good in this matchup, potentially, depending on the exact nature of Greg Straw, but these decks are biting. They are certainly not Wasteland proof, that's for sure.
That is definitely accurate.
A really powerful opening for Josh here. Multiple Wastelands, multiple copies of Lingering Souls.
Maloof going to sacrifice that Verdant Catacombs. We'll see which land he wants to search for. What we do know is that it will not be a basic. Promise you that much. He's going to go get himself an Underground Sea. 19 life here, ready to present the deck. We'll see what the follow-up's going to be. Are we cantripping, or are we deploying a creature? Heck, even an Abrupt Decay wouldn't be so bad. It looks like we are See that Brainstorm at the forefront. There it is. So time to put 2 back. See if he's got a fetch line and make it a perfect one, and he does. Looks like a Marsh Flats and a Misty Rainforest over there.
And he's found a Deathrite Shaman, which is really important here too, because he needs to do something with this leftover mana he has this turn. He doesn't want to fall too far behind also.
Maloof still figuring out what land he wants to play. Do I want to go Wastelanding, or do I want to just play a Deathrite Shaman? Decisions here.
It's pretty risky to use Wasteland against the opponent who has Deathrite Shaman in play already. They're likely to out-mana you, so.
Another Deathrite Shaman drawn here for hand. Might be time to go for the Lingering Souls, but of course, if you do that, that means the Deathrite Shaman on the other side of the table can take care of it.
Given the nature of Josh's hand, it's not impossible he's not unhappy to damage race here. He plays the Lingering Souls. This basically forces Greg to use a mana and the Deathrite Shaman on his own turn to get rid of the Lingering Souls. You have a backup Lingering Souls and a Wasteland. I mean, you might just rush Greg out of the game, even though it doesn't look great on the surface to play your Lingering Souls in the face of the Deathrite Shaman. He can apply a lot of pressure here.
How do you like playing the Plains instead of the Wasteland that turn? Because he has a second Wasteland, so he could play 2 Wastelands in one turn and fire off and kill some lands?
Maybe. I can kind of see it either way. I guess because the Hypnotorak is in Greg's deck, I would rather get the Wasteland in play because that's more valuable to have than a Plains in this spot. I can also understand trying to conceal the information a little bit, but on the balance, I think I agree with you. I'd rather have played the Wasteland there.
Misty Rainforest is going to come into play, sacrifice and go find a Bayou. Maloof at 18. 2 mana. Tarmogoyf. And remove your... No, another Tarmogoyf. Wow.
Oh, okay. He wants to race.
That seems really dangerous when there are Deathrite Shamans out there. You get to control the size of the Tarmogoyfs.
Yeah, and he's going to have no end of chump blockers or ways to damage race here, too.
Oh, an interesting draw there. A Shriek Maw.
Ooh. Sweet.
Bet you didn't see that coming.
Most certainly not.
What was it you say? Hoodaleel?
Hoodaleel?
Yeah.
You might be pretty close to hard casting that bad boy. There's a lot of paths for both of these players to take here.
Yeah, for sure.
Greg taking a very aggressive stance.
I think you got to be interested in flashing that Lingering Souls. I think you have to do it now.
Yep.
Make sure you get your value outs there. Gonna fire off Wasteland to take care of that land. And then he can cast Deathrite and flashback Lingering Souls, and that seems like a really attractive play.
It's really powerful here for Josh. He's going to have a lot of flying offense that Greg is going to struggle to block. And between his Lingering Souls and the spare Deathrite Shaman he's casting here, will have a lot of fodder, too, to chump block these Tarmogoyfs.
Looks like he's going to go on the Shriek Maul approach to take care of Tarmogoyf instead. Tarmogoyf's going to grow into a 4/5. And now here's the backup Deathrite Shaman. This is really going to help him control the graveyards now. See if he wants to be attacking. I think you can get it. I think you can afford to get aggressive here.
Yeah, Josh rather has positioned himself to be an aggressor in this spot. He's forcing Greg to use again, most of his turn, removing this Lingering Souls in theory. So
there's a Wasteland. Ooh, that's big. Gonna take care of that scrub land. And now this is a Toxic Deluge. Well, okay then.
Wow.
The life paid was 2. Tarmogoyf is big. And you want to talk about cards we haven't seen very much of.
We see a little bit of this, and it is underrated, and it's very good against decks like Josh, obviously. He's playing a lot of 1- and 2-types creatures. Greg trying to set up things like Tarmogoyf.
This card's always good. Every time it's cast, it's good. Everyone talks about True Name Nemesis, and to be fair, they should. That card's completely busted, but this card's really good too.
Yes, it's criminally underrated right now.
Basic swamp off the Verdant. All of a sudden, the plays that Greg Maloof was making make sense.
Yeah. Credit for Hootaleo goes to my best friend, Gary.
Ah, really?
But I've also taken it, because it's sweet.
You can
it's a
have
sweet
it.
thing to say.
Lingering Soul's going to get flashed back here. Still a 4/5 Tarmogoyf running rampant on this battlefield. This is a Ponder. This looks more like Bug Delver to me.
Well, Josh, with this Lingering Souls left over in hand, may still be able to erase this Tarmogoyf, depending on how Greg sets up now. The Spell Pierce is going to do some work if Greg wants to keep it.
Ponder, going to keep it on top.
We saw it last game. Josh can definitely erase with just Lingering Souls.
Looks like we're going Thought Season. Maybe. This is going to really fast block. No interest in taking any damage. The grip was a Lingering Souls and a Wasteland.
Not too shabby.
Yeah. Don't mind the Thought Seize too much there. The Wasteland will be pretty good too.
I think that chump block still might have been about a turn early for my liking.
Yeah, me too.
You're not at a risk of getting burned out here, and he needs to connect as many times with these tokens to squeeze this game out. So, oh wow, what a draw! Oh,
A Vindicate takes down the Tarmogoyf, and now the Spirit can come across. Jeez, what a big draw. Maloof goes down to 11. No green mana yet either, but a Brainstorm is pretty big.
He knows the card that he has left over is Spell Pierce too. He knows that's there, so that protects him from the Lingering Souls in the graveyard.
Did he find? It looks like. Oh man, that is not good. He's Brainstorm locked here with no green mana. You put a Tarmogoyf and an Abrupt Decay back. It looks like there's a Wasteland. It can take care of the other Wasteland, but he's in a world of hurt. And it's only a 1/1 Spirit token. But in for one we go. Maloof down to 10. We talked about that chump block being a bit hasty. It looks like it may come back to hurt hand because he can't close it out fast enough.
Yeah, the clock is a lot different if he's hitting for 2 right now instead of hitting for 1.
Spell Pierce takes care of the flashback Lingering Souls. Maloof can only draw his card and pass it back, knowing that's not going to be helpful. An attack for 1 here, and let's see what hand found. He just has to pass back 2. Maloof draws another copy of Abrupt Decay. He knew that was there. Source of Plowshares with the draw for hand. An attack here for 1 yet again. Maloof's going to go down to 8. Anything to play? Yes, sir. A Dark Confidant.
What a play.
Can Maloof find green mana? He found a Hymn to Torak. That's not the best. Probably have to fire it off, though.
Well, nothing else in his hand really does anything. He's got Tarmogoyf, Abrupt Decay.
Yeah.
Just can't cast it.
All right, my sword is gone. That's fine. Dark Confidant, maybe a little runaway action. The trigger, a Scrubland, the draw. Looks like a Marsh Flats. In for 3 we go. Maloof down to 5.
At this stage, even if Greg is able to find green mana, it might be too little too late.
He needs it now. That's a Wasteland. That's not green mana. That Wasteland's not going to help very much. Hand has plenty of mana at this point. Hand going to untap. A Dark Confidant trigger is going to reveal Windswept Teeth. Liliana of the Veil, the draw. Attack for 3. It's going to put Maloof down to 2. He can get the Liliana out there, play it through a Spell Pierce, which is what he's going to do. Thumbs up. Liliana going to go up. Time to discard for both players. Windswept Teeth gone. We'll see what Maloof wants to discard.
I think we're just getting a die here to make sure that Liliana's tracked, but
yep.
I think Greg's going to get it. Or Josh, rather. I think Josh is going to get it.
He's still got a shot if he draws a green source right now. That's not off a fetch land. Let's see what this is. It's a Marsh Flats. That's the problem, because if it's not a fetch land, he's able to Abrupt Decay the Dark Confidant, and then the Spirit Token will attack him to 1, but because it's a fetch land, he goes down to 1, and then dies from Lingering Soul's token, and Greg Maloof, unfortunately, loses both these games. Josh Hand moving on.
Yeah, I like decks like Black-White Stoneblade in these kind of matchups where it's more about just fighting honestly on the ground. They got a lot of great tools for that kind of matchup. Sources of card advantage, a lot of removal. The games were close, but Josh was able to squeak them out. Congratulations, 7-1. Going to be one of the higher seeds moving on to the elimination rounds.
You got to imagine he's going to be playing first in at least the first round.
Right.
Elimination rounds here with a 7-1 record with Black-White Stoneblade. Again, a deck that we don't see a ton of. A lot of people refer to it as Dead Gael. Call it whatever you will. It's 7-1 here in Knoxville.
And a deck that you know, it's not one that you see in the elimination rounds of every single Legacy tournament. We usually have it on camera, I would say, one of every 2, one of every 3 opens or thereabouts, but not a lot of success recently. But Josh here, 7-1. Congratulations to him.
Yeah, really looking dominant here. A little bit of a different take. That Shriek Maw, which